Ayo, what's outside is within. The mind regulates the hand that masters the pen. The pen is mightier than the sword, but the tongue is mightier still. The stargate to the mind's revealed. The vortex.
Okay, peace everybody. Cyclonious here, and would you like to give your name to the people that's here watching?
Ray Vendetta, aka Ray of Light, aka Razor Sharp, aka Billy Bars the Great, and aka Bangers by Razor. But Ray Vendetta is the one that you should concentrate on the most.
All right, and it's a pleasure to have you on the platform, my brother.
King. Thank you for inviting me on.
All good. What was the inspiration behind the title Sly and Agatha, and how does it reflect the themes of the album?
Sly and Agatha. Pronunciation.
Agatha.
Yeah,
excuse me.
It's Agatha. No, don't watch that, man. It reads like that, so I'm going to pronounce it like that. Sly and Agatha is the fourth project in a series of projects that are called the Legacy Agenda.
Right.
And it's dedicated to my family, basically. So if you go back through my discography and you know the discog, the first part was called Give My Babies My Entire Earnings. It was dedicated to my children, based off a Ghostface lyric, if you know Ghost's discography. The second part was Son of Floyd. It was dedicated to my father. And then followed Sharon's Firstborn, dedicated to my mother. Sly and Agatha follows off from that fourth part. My gran and granddad, rest in peace to them, they both passed away quite close. It's just after lockdown. And I dedicated the fourth part to them.
Wow, so you're very family orientated.
Yeah. I had to do something within this music that, you know, was for my family, for my people. Exactly, my direct people, the people that brought me into this world, raised me, nurtured me. I thought, I've got one or two songs in my discog that, you know, cite growing up and family members, but I want to dedicate something to them entirely. So this whole set of projects is for them.
So legacy means everything.
Yeah, legacy is everything.
Dopeness.
It is everything.
All right, so you collaborated with producer Endemic for this project. How would you describe your working relationship with him, and how has it influenced the sound of the album?
My working relationship with Endemic goes back 10 years plus to the time where I'd just been invited into Triple Darkness by Cyrus Malachi and Melanin 9, big up my brothers. He was working very closely with both of them at the time, with 9 on a project he was doing that had US to UK artists. I can't remember the name of it. The Pandemic, something like that. It was related to, funny enough, it was related to all of that, but it was before that, before the lockdown stuff. But yeah, he was working with 9 closely and working on an album with Cyrus at the time, his debut album, Ancient Future. Right. So he just saw a video on YouTube that was me and my brother Tesla's Ghost. We just threw up a video that my brethren recorded, and he saw it. And he just wanted to know who he was from that point. He was looking for us, and we didn't even know. Right. And then basically, when I found out through TD getting at me, Cyrus and 9, talking, we saw this, Endemic showed us. And then me and Endemic started talking from there. He sent me 1-2 beats. I done 24 Carat single with him that was on his album. Yeah, Terminal Illness was the album, I got it. Terminal Illness, there's parts 1 and 2. 9 was on part 1, I was on part 1, so Cyrus, Tesla. You know, it got me involved in that, and we kind of just kept in touch after that. Okay. I liked his sound, very soulful. You know, he chopped soul very well. It was right up my street for what I was kind of producing and putting out there at the time, so it just matched. It was a natural fit.
It made sense.
Yeah, it did.
Can you walk us through your songwriting process for Sly and Agatha? Do you have a specific routine or environment that helps you create?
No, when it comes to songwriting, I draw the inspiration from the time I look into a project. I kind of know how I want it to round out. Start with a title. I've got the title there, so I'm like, what body of tunes does this need now? And I chose on this new project to be more, you know, lyrical and reflective, because my gran and granddad was on there. My writing process was, I'm going to write the important songs first, the one actual theme song for my gran and granddad. You know, the more nostalgia and thinking songs, the story-driven led tunes, and then I just leave the lyrical ones to the end, because I can have fun with those. Yeah. You know, you just flexing the pen and the skills there, but, you know, the concentrated ones I started with first, and when I was happy with those, then I just rounded it up with other songs to just give it some more body, more flesh on the bones, you feel me? Right. Yeah.
But what are some of the central themes that you explored in this album, and why are they significant to you?
They're important because, you know, I go over my upbringing. My grandparents and a pivotal part they played in raising me, and then I feel outside of that I was touching on general issues as well that I feel like affect the youngers, even the elders. Man, I'm into middle age now, so you know there's things that have been issues and things that, you know, I'm passionate about and I want to speak about, and tracks that I have for 10 years plus. So I rounded it up with more like nostalgia and giving more story-driven stuff, because I haven't done that much over my last few projects, and I like storytelling. Got a tune on there called The Lost, Shattered Glass, you know. I'm forgetting the titles of the tunes. The tune with my brother Saf One on it, you know, we went into like our legacy as black people and our history through music, and yeah, I just wanted to touch on things that I feel like my grandparents would have heard that song. I like that, you know, grandson.
Yeah, I heard
You're
that.
talking about that, and then give me some history and knowledge on what I'm saying, because they probably go deeper on it. My granddad was a very knowledgeable man, so, you know, in a way it's bittersweet that he didn't get to hear this project, but I'm glad that I did get it out in their name, because I would have loved to have sat down and discuss some of the things I went over in the album with him.
Okay.
And just got his insight, and then I would have used him for interludes and skits like I did with the projects for my mum and dad. They were all over it talking.
Okay,
They were still here in the flesh.
Right.
My grandparents weren't.
Right.
I would have went and sat with granddad and just had a nostalgia chat with him. What was I like when I was a baby?
Yeah.
And when mum was expecting me, how did you two feel? I wanted to ask them things like that.
Yeah.
That would have been a part of the album, but unfortunately I didn't get to, man.
Yeah.
You know, they ascended. So it's in their memory and honour. But yeah, that's basically the process I wanted to get to. I didn't want to take it outside the realms of that. It's something you can sit back, put on from the top, listen to the bottom, and just get different vibes throughout, but a rounded vibe. Yeah.
Are there any tracks on the album that you feel particularly proud of, or that resonate deeply with you, and why?
The theme track, Sly and Agatha. Yeah, it's actually hard to listen to that, man. It gets me emotional, because some things I mentioned on that, like deep to family and just like my personal journey. So I find it very hard to listen to that. It was hard to write it as well. But I got that out. That's probably my favourite tune on the album. And then there's Lineage. Yes, Broken Lineage. With Saf One. I might have been getting that wrong, but Lineage. I got so much tracks, big man. I forget the title sometimes.
Bro, I feel you. I'm like that as well.
But yeah, the track with Saf One is a very important track to me as well. I've been wanting to work with Saf One for a minute. He's got an incredible album with Cyrus coming out. People, you need to check for that. He's an incredible MC. That track as well. I like what he did when I gave him the theme of it. I just said, you know, we're talking some history, man. As you know, our ancestors and, you know, then to modern day type thing, and he flipped it from the angle of the music that we've given up, you know, and it was really good. And then he flipped it into other stuff. But I like the way he drew that, you know, in this dystopia, yeah, the music was always a thing of ours, man. The drum originated in Africa, you know. I mean, the music is our thing.
That's right.
And he kind of broke his bar down from that, the musical journey of our people. So that's a very important song for me. The Lost is some, you know, I'm talking about. You know, some young people making bad decisions. You know, one is a girl, you know, seems to just be getting in a lot of shit, hanging around guys and influences that she shouldn't. You know, a bit naive, and then, you know, two guys on a revenge mission. So, you know, things that happen often. You know, these young boys dashing their whole shit away for stupid shit. Yeah, throwing their whole lives away. So I thought I have to put that in a verse, but I wrapped it from the perspective of them having a conversation before they're going to do the murder. So it's them two talking. One is in two minds and one is bang on it. He wants to do it.
I hear you.
So I depicted it from that. So maybe the listener will be like, oh, flipping out, man. This is kind of crazy. Yeah, it's like kind of third person. But yeah, I think those 3 tracks are the most important to me.
Dopeness. How do you approach your lyrics? What message do you hope to convey through your storytelling in this album?
For my storytelling, it's just like live, be wise, and make good decisions. It's like people always ask me who I aimed my bars at, and I couldn't really like pinpoint it. But as I've got into age, I find now I'm more of a spokesperson as a rapper. I've still got a lot of the young bucks around me. I've got a 20-year-old son, a 14-year-old daughter, so it's like their friends, their influences and things that they're drawn to are very important to me. I need to see what they're taking in.
Okay.
Yeah, like all the time, and just know. So I stay in tune. The youth help to keep me stay in tune, and that way I feel that without preaching, which they always turn off to, because you know that the youth are in the youth are in an era now where it's just like the elders thing and the respect thing. It's a blurred line now, so it's like I don't like to come across as the preacher, because when you come across as the preacher, they turn off.
Yeah.
Think there's some old head talking on this. We don't relate to this. We don't relate to 90s. This that we weren't even born yet.
Yeah,
and we ain't gonna try and even hear this. So
Yeah.
you know what I do? I just put it in the music. Because they gravitate to the music.
That's right.
Oh, we like this beat because nah. Oh, you should remix that because it's got that sound they like. But you know what I do? I just drop the gems in that. I drop a whole heap of gems in that. Something I'd sit down and tell you, like, yeah, one of my friends went on a rampage, that two friends fell out, one might have stabbed the other one, this, that. Yeah. I might want to give you a lesson from saying that, but if I sat down with you and told you that, man telling war stories and da. They look at you sideways, they do.
Yeah.
I pull it in a tune, you can run that, listen to it. If you don't get it, you can play it tomorrow. You don't get it, you can play it the day after that,
Right.
and then you'll hear it. This is maybe the things that Ray's trying to show, man. And it's like, yeah, I aim those kind of bars at the ones underneath us, man. I think it's important, man. With what they're taking in, I think it's important that there's a balance of man then giving them good messages, you feel me? We ain't perfect, but, you know, I analyse this thing different from a lot of the artists that they're really into analysing, you know.
Did you feature any guest artists on the album? And if so, how did you choose them? And what did they bring to the project?
My guest artists on this album, what's the guest artist list? I've got Menace Mendoza, Dark Side of the Moon. He's basically family. It's like all the features on this project are, aside Casablanca and Grey Fox, who are from the States. You know, good musical peers of mine now, affiliates for years now. Aside that, it's all in-house. New Guards, Dark Side of the Moon, Triple Darkness. You know, the clicks are so massive that I never really need to reach out too far. Someone will be in the lab when I got that playing and they're writing something like, you like that, you jump on there, it's about that, boom, or I've got all the tracks finished. I never really set out a feature list at first. I do all the tracks and I sit there. Yeah, he could sit there. Well, I've only done an 8 to that'd be a pussy, because I put 5 man on that. So against 5 man on the tuning's not clogging up my album. They just on one joint.
Yeah.
I like to do it like that, especially when it's a concentrated album. I don't want it too feature heavy.
Right.
And that's no disrespect to my MC peers, because they're brilliant. But sometimes when you're trying to, you know, project something a certain way, it needs to be you one.
I hear you.
Yeah.
What characteristics of Endemic's production stood out to you during the creation of this album?
Oh, with Endemic, it's always the loops, man. The things he finds to chop and the way he does it. It's like, yeah. He's very... He has the sound, I'd say, that the Wu had between like 98 into the thousands. When RZA was changing his sound and it was getting a bit more electronic with the Wu Forever sound and Bobby Digital. And it's like, I think a lot of producers that came up of that stole a leaf or a page out of that. And I think his soul chops are very much like that. Bronze Nazareth similar. You know, there's a batch of producers, Apollo Brown, that chop their soul in a certain way, choppy, and I think Endemic's in that list as well.
Okay.
Yeah, he chops soul like that, and I just like it. It's just like his beats, you just pull it on it and you start spitting without even having an idea that you're moving.
Infectious.
Right. Yeah, you just start rapping, even if it's something off the top of your head. Yeah, that will fit on that.
Yeah.
And then you're writing a song all of a sudden. Yeah, so that's his stuff is instant. You know, as far as
How did you approach your visuals, the element side of the album, such as the artwork and music videos, and what message does that all convey in totality?
Well, the artwork centered around old family photos, my gran and granddad's wedding photos, and as you can see on one of the covers, my granddad sitting in the chair, my grandma standing next to him, because in that time, you know, it was the tradition for the man to sit down in the photo and a woman to stand next to him, his wife. You see in the old photos from my elders,
That's right, yeah.
So I looked and I thought, right, that's such an old tradition, man. Why do women have to... They should be sitting together in unison, man. Things have changed now, times have changed, but then it was the man, innit? Man.
Right.
So I looked at that, I thought, that's a powerful picture. I want that. I got my mum to dig it up, the original one, because I wanted to scan it. Then a picture on the main cover is from my grandmother and grandfather's anniversary. I'm not sure which one it was, the 30 or 40 year. They had a long mileage. I was young in that picture. The whole family was there. It's memorable because everybody was out and it was a happy day, and there was a lot of pictures. A professional photographer came and done it that day. So I thought that has to be the main cover. And then the third cover, because I had 3 alternate covers, was me at my grand and granddad's gravesite, and that's the first time I'd been there since they passed away. So it was an emotional time. I didn't even know that picture was taken. My son took it from far range. I was like, and I was having a moment. I was teary. He took that picture and he showed me just later into the trip that I took some pictures when he was by. And I said, yeah, this has to be one of the covers, man.
I hear you.
Proper deep, man. I was in a moment. So yeah, I tied that in with the Uplift video, which I shot myself. That's one of my favourite tracks as well, going back to your last few questions.
Uplift, okay.
Yeah, because Uplift is just a positive one. Just if your back's against the wall and, you know, you don't think things is going your way, man, just there's always a way, man. You know, I've got friends that have passed away through suicide and things like that, and that's another touching subject for me. So I kind of wanted to reach out to anyone feeling that kind of way in the tune.
Yes.
Like, I've been in dark places too, man.
Yeah.
There's always a way, man. This music saved me, but everybody don't have an outlet.
That's right.
So it's just like Uplift was a video that I decided to be the second video, and VSOP, because it kind of opens the album. So yeah, let me start with that, man. It's jumpy, you know. It doesn't give anyone a clue of the direction of the album as well. When I do those kind of bar tracks, when these metaphors, punches, whatever, it doesn't give anyone an idea of where you're going with the album. So I like to give them that. So, they're guessing.
Yeah,
and then Uplift came straight off the back of that. You know, nice laid back one. So I do it like that.
Okay.
So it builds an intrigue and a mystery around the project. So that's the first 2 videos I've done with the covers. So that was my kind of thinking around the presentation visually.
That's dope. How has the reception been so far for this album? And is there any feedback that particularly stood out to you?
Yes, it's like the album was a hard copy. It came out on my label, Prestigious, from late last year into this year. So it's kind of an album that I've dragged through the whole year. Because it was only physical, meaning that only my diehard and true supporters reached out and bought it.
Right.
And a few of them will message you on social media, this is my favourite tune, tag you on something that they posted. That's the feedback I appreciate the most from the listeners. Because the listeners are taking it in. It's like me giving them chapters of my life, man, pieces of my soul. So when they come back with that feedback, yeah, I like that because of that and that, that's the kind of feedback that I usually take in. And that's probably the best feedback I got. From fellow artists and peers, you know, always be good feedback. Yeah. You know, they come at you, I like this, I like that. I like the constructive criticism as well, or maybe that, or you could have mixed that like that, or added that. I like it because that's the music guys coming in and listening to it from a subjective point of view as well. I even like that. I don't like people coming and showing me praise saying this and that, especially my people. Right. Just be honest. Yeah. I won't say who a few X amount of albums, but one of my guys took the album, he listened to it after the week, I love this album, Ray. I don't like the way you mixed it. Okay. Yeah, you got me better than mixing. Come sat with me. Certain things, you're doing it right, maybe this, and I like that kind of criticism because it makes me a better artist. Yeah. So.
And especially if it's coming from people that you can...
that I respect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I take it in all the time. I'm like, whoa, what do you mean I can't mix? What, I can't mix? You know, my man, I be like that, innit? I'm not that guy. I be like, bro, how so? And then I have a listen back, you're right, you know. Yeah, man, maybe that's a bit... do this, and then I'll just adapt it to what I'm doing in it. And that's how you learn. It's a forever learning process with this music thing. That's right. You know, I went college for it back in my teens, but that evaporated out my mind by my 30s, man. Same here. Yeah, evaporated. Same here, I got a music technology certificate, man. It's high as an A-level grade, man. Would have took me uni, but I've become a father or whatnot. But yeah, I don't evaporate out my mind a few years. So learning back past 5, 6, 7 years to do it all again is crazy. Hands-on thing, innit? Muscle memory is there, but that's right. The science has to come back to you.
Hey yo, what's outside is within. The mind regulates the hand that masters the pen. The pen is mightier than the sword, but the tongue is mightier still. The stargate to the mind's revealed. The vortex.